The Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com, 11 locations across New England.
What's up, everybody?
What up?
Womp womp. Not the energy that we had last night.
Welp.
I don't think we'll have as much fun talking because Miss Abby Chin coming to you after the Celtics fall to the
Detroit basketball.
Up at Little Caesars Arena. Not really
Is it
close.
up?
What up?
Is it up? Detroit?
Up. Yeah.
Is it up?
Up, right?
It's over.
I think it's up.
I don't know.
That's another great question. We're full of riddles tonight.
Also, pregame, we tried to make it a headband game,
Yeah.
but apparently...
You know what happened? It's the fact that they didn't go headbands that...
Right. They needed to
them.
bring the headband.
They needed something. They should have known going in. If I'm being honest...
That looks awful. For those of you not watching on YouTube.
Yeah, if you're listening on the audio version, you're missing
I tried to
Abby
make
putting
it
on
happen.
her headband, and it was awesome pregame, though. So I think they wasted the headband bullet. They didn't really need it in Toronto.
That's probably why they used it. They
No.
needed something to get up and get excited
Right,
about.
but no, I think they misused it. Like you only get it.
No, you shouldn't need it against a Detroit team that's won 7 straight
No,
and
you
is
shouldn't.
looking at you as
You
a
shouldn't need
measuring
it against
stick.
Toronto. You should be able to show up and be like, "Oh, we're just better than them," even with the missing
That's-
players.
I mean, that's kind of what they did.
Right.
Headbands
they-
or not.
They didn't need the headbands. You're making my point. So, regardless, Celtics did not bring the energy tonight, even with Kristaps Porzingis and Al Horford back on the court, Drew Holiday back on the court. Just felt like they were running in mud for much of the night. I'm not going to linger on this game very long, but what was your biggest takeaway?
The turnovers, the sloppiness, and the fact that Joe Mazzulla warned pregame that the Celtics' best defense against this team that loves to get out and run is a good offense. And the Celtics completely crumbled on that end.
Disappointing. They've been one of the better turnover teams in the
Yes.
NBA this season. They take care of the basketball. Joe has stressed at every turn about the margins, and they get crushed on the offensive glass. They got crushed in transition. They got crushed on turnovers, and that all adds up. A rare night, they make 21 three-pointers, and I think they were,
11 in the second quarter.
which was crazy, because it felt like that felt like the turning point of the game, right?
Yeah.
Like the Pistons come out with a bunch of energy, punch you in the face a little bit, you kind of chip away, and then you surge to tie the game on the strength of an 11 for 16 three-point shooting in the second quarter. And you're like, man, Pistons got to be at halftime. Like, what can we do?
Right.
We
What
played
was
it-
that?
Yeah, we played as
What are we
well as we
supposed to do?
could, really, and brought energy and did all the right things, got the turnovers, all that, and the Celtics are still tied. But instead of the Celtics coming out and kind of taking advantage of it, got sloppy. Next thing, you like literally
3
blinked your
straight
eye.
turnovers to start the second half, which
Not
is
great.
not, yeah.
Not
Not
the,
what
the
you're
game
looking for.
plan. I'm sure people think in an instance like this, they probably kicked on postgame live. They're like, yeah, Forsberg going to lose his mind. This one doesn't bug me.
So you feel like you have to explain yourself.
I do, though,
for it.
because
Do it.
because there have been instances where I've lost my mind, and I felt valid in those moments. I'm sure there are people that are like, oh, only one thing that I think people will harp on, and as we digest this one, is only 12 made baskets inside the three-point arc. I believe they said that was a franchise
Season low.
Season low. Feels like it's
I mean,
hard.
there have been some dark seasons. I guess the 3 wasn't as prevalent.
12 buckets is low.
Yeah.
So, wish they had been a little bit more aggressive. There, obviously, when you have a presence like Beef Stew and Duran and all that on the back line, a little bit more daunting to go at the basket. But undeniably, not the effort we expected from the Celtics on this night.
What do you think about Malik Beasley doing the little hip dance in
Loved
front
it.
of the Celtics bench?
Loved it.
Loved it.
You gotta divorce yourself from like the emotion of, oh, that guy's dancing on the Celtics. It's like that team was dominating the third quarter. Malik Beasley was making every shot. Dude has been playing out of his mind.
He made some tough shots.
You want to
too.
dance, you dance. And the same way that if, and we were joking because like there's not really a guy on the Celtics who would do that. Like when Tatum gets going, he might have a little swagger, certainly in that Miami game. Like Peyton Pritchard obviously has a little fire when he's making shots. But like
Luke Cornett.
that would be hilarious.
That would be
if he just
amazing.
gave a little. Like maybe we'll see him in the playoffs and there's Luke Cornett just gyrating in front of the Pistons bench. But no, I'm fine with it. You know, it's fun. We were joking about it because we knew it was going to come up in the post game, and I thought Joe handled it right. He's like, "Hey, dude has every right to do that," and
it's our job to stop him.
100%. And that doesn't mean like go out and knock him down. Like, yeah, there are instances where guys get a little cocky or a little comfortable. You got to do that, especially in a playoff series where you're just trying to like bring a guy back down to earth. But I go back to it. You know, I do think this is one of the bigger takeaways for me coming out of this is. It's sort of been a foregone conclusion. Like everyone keeps saying, Peyton's going to be sixth man of the year, and I don't disagree. I don't misinterpret. I think he's the front runner. I just feel like when a team catches fire like this, when they are rolling to the level that the Pistons are now, there's a lot more eyeballs.
Yeah.
Everything seems a little bit more magnified, and so now you're invariably looking at a head-to-head matchup like this and saying, you know, Malik Beasley was just a little bit better, and I think that's, you know, voters are easily swayed.
Well, it's a narrative league, and the narrative right now really revolving around the Detroit Pistons.
And he deserves that credit too. Like if he's not number one, he's number two. You know, and so it will be a fun little race here. I think Peyton will use it as motivation. I'm sure he'd like to have been in there at the end of the game when Joe decided to wave the white flag. And yet you understand why. Like they weren't coming back from 18 down with 4.5 minutes to go. No matter
Joe
how.
did give them one last gasp too, and then
they still couldn't get a defensive stop, and he was just like, all right, enough of this. Drew Peterson, J.D. Davison,
roll on in there.
Baylor Shireman, all you bros, get on in there. The best part is that you don't have to linger on it too long.
No, we don't. The other part.
Ooh, go ahead.
Is that I won the debate of whether you say crayons or crayons. I did.
Okay.
I decided.
We have great interaction.
I call W.
You're doing the Malik Beasley without making the basket.
I'm doing the hip dance on talking about crayons.
You can't do that. Like you're posturing right now because you
Tom Giles. I came out the aggressor. That's true. Tom Giles
is not the tiebreaker.
Kayla Burton. That's 3-2 against you and Eddie.
Michael Hawley's on our side too.
That's 50-50. And then I got some support on X, so Twitter.
Yeah. How's that working out for you?
Yes, anyway, sorry. Go back to your toss.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
That
doesn't count.
My phone.
Ball don't lie, Forsberg. Ball don't lie.
It's playing into my hearing aids. Even worse. So, all right, real quick, because we have great engagement with our listening audience.
We do want to hear from you.
People respond. People go into the YouTube comments, and even though I don't read most of them, I will go through tomorrow and listen to how do you people say the word that
we
is
should
spelled?
just send out a poll. They have tools for this.
CRAYONS.
Those things that you color with.
Some people say crowns.
Ooh, no, they don't.
That's usually like a down south thing. Some people, if you can't see me pointing on the audio version, that's me pointing at Abby, say crayons.
Some crayons.
Crayons.
I love crayons.
And people that know how to say the word say crayons.
Just throwing an extra syllable in there. Why not be more efficient with your time?
It's not how the English language works.
Like I said on the show, we live in New England. There's nowhere in New England do they properly pronounce all the letters in a word.
The only reason I'm allowing this conversation to go on.
Worcester.
One, and I'm sure our producers are probably like, God, if they say crayons one more time on this program. But not our podcast producers. They're lovely people. I think our show producers were probably sick of us being unable to get through promos because we're fighting
thrown
each
under
other.
the bus right now. Yeah.
But I do believe that I'm going to allow this conversation because we have no one wants to talk about the game. We have a promo we run. It's called Cradles for Crayons. And I can't believe they have watched their advertisement get butchered multiple times by our hosts and have not complained that we're not saying the word right. There's literally, when you bought a box of crayons...
I think you're getting the name wrong. Cradles to crayons, crayons to cradles.
You know what? We've already butchered it this much.
I know.
Why don't you go get your coffee?
No, I just want everyone to weigh in. Let us know. Yes. And I will not change the way I say crayons. Anyway. Let's hear the rest of the show.
No! Well, I guess we are kind of towards that point. All right. I mean, you know what? Here's more from our post-game show where we argue about crayons.
Are you ready to enter the realm of affordable luxury? Drew Carter here with 24 Infinity of Plymouth, where performance comes for less.
Right now, lock in 2.9% APR financing for 60 months on a new Infinity QX80 Lux.
Ready to trade and upgrade? You'll get top dollar for your trade. Visit 24 Infinity of Plymouth at 151 Samoset Street and online at 24infinityofplymouth.com.
Eddie, what did you take away from this? Does this make Detroit, legitimate in your eyes?
I think they play hard. And I think the one thing that if you have a team that plays hard and believes in themselves and the coach, then they're always a dangerous team. Do I think that they're a team that could beat us in a 7-game series? No. Do I think that they are a team that can possibly squeeze out the first round? Yeah, they could possibly do that. But going against us in a 7-game series, I don't think that they could beat us in a 7-game series. I thought that they played one of their best basketball games. I thought we played one of our sloppiest basketball games on top of that. So when you combine those two, you get a combustion of a good, ass kicking the way we got it.
I don't want to give the Celtics any excuses. They had guys that didn't play last night that should have been more crisp. They had that little burst in the second quarter where they should have felt pretty good about being tied at halftime, and it could have demoralized the Pistons with the way you were knocking down threes. But that second half was pretty much unacceptable, and they clearly didn't have anything left in the tank. Poor Tatum running on fumes at the end of the third quarter. Joe made the right decision to roll in the end of the bench at that point when they're down 18 in the final minutes. And so, you know what? It's just one of those nights where the Pistons really wanted it. I'm not going to call it their Super Bowl, but they're clearly playing with a little bit of pizzazz right now. And the Celtics just, for whatever reason, weren't able to match it and disappoint. Even looking like Kristaps isn't getting back. Guys are just getting their own offensive rebounds. It just wasn't crisp overall, Abby.
Yeah, the Celtics fall to 5-4 on the second night of back-to-backs. They were outscored in the second half by 20. And this is something, Eddie, you talked about. They started the second half off with 3 straight turnovers. In the end, the Pistons ended up with 24 points off of turnovers.
And gyrated on them.
Ugh.
It was nasty. 19 total turnovers.
That's the most against the Celtics this season, Eddie. Sorry. And then, and Malik Beasley shaking his hips in front of the bench. What's up with that?
He been doing that. He's been doing that for you got to stop him from doing it. If you don't want him to do it, you got to stop him from doing it. But 19 total turnovers that we had, that was one of my highlights in the first half. I was like, we had 7 in the first quarter. We needed to take care of the basketball. We end up with 19 for the total in the game. And then the points in the paint, that goes to turnovers as well. I didn't want to speak on that because let me look at my notes. When I was looking, I was like, hey, fast break points, 19-8 in the first half, right? And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that's due to we turned the ball over. But then I looked at points in the paint in the first half. It was 32-10. I'm like, oh, well, that could be due to the turnovers. But if you keep turning the ball over, they're going to get points in the paint because they're going to get easy runouts. They're going to get easy layups and things like that. So I didn't think we would turn the ball over at this rate. And I think that that's really what was the issue. And I felt watching the game that they just played with a little bit more energy. I don't know if it's the Toronto hangover. Hey, I've had it before. You know what I mean? I've had the Toronto hangover before. But I don't know if it was that. I don't know what it was. But at the same time, you got to give credit to what the Detroit Pistons did tonight. I can't take anything away from what they did. They came out with an aggressive game plan against us. And at the end of the day, we got punched in our mouths. And we didn't respond the way we thought we would be able to respond. The threes were falling early. And we just didn't hit the threes at the same clip that we did in the first half.
No, there were some air balls in that second half. And I don't know about the Toronto hangover, Eddie. I'm with you, but I think if anything, it's just a late arrival into Detroit, maybe because you got to go through customs. The hangover would have been the other night. They had to fly out last night, second night of a back-to-back. But I do go back to...
Did their hustle get caught up at customs?
The what?
Their hustle, their energy,
Maybe they had to stand in line for a while.
Sometimes I get drained in Toronto. Sometimes I get drained in Toronto. Like a lot of energy is put forth.
Not the same.
And then I have to play the game, and then I don't have the
Okay.
same focus
The
on the next
second
night of back-to-back.
day hangover. Okay.
And here's
Yeah,
the
that's
thing.
what I'm trying to say.
The turnovers, right? Like the Celtics are typically a very sure-handed team, one of the lowest turnover percentages in the NBA. I think this is a little bit of both here, indicative of second night of a back-to-back. You are a little bit less of energy. The way the Pistons played forced you into some bad situations, but uncharacteristically sloppy and compounding it by just not getting back or just allowing runouts. So I did not love the way that when you made a mistake, they compounded it by not getting back. And, you know, this is what Celtics typically do to teams, where if they make a mistake, they burn you. And the margin for error is so much slimmer on the second night of a back-to-back, and they just didn't have the right focus, right? I mean,
Especially when teams are so excited to be playing the defending champs and to test themselves against you. But I will say, the Celtics knew this was coming. Joe Mazzulla told Scal before the game, our best defense is good offense. We cannot turn the basketball over. So that was part of the game plan, and the Celtics, Eddie, simply couldn't execute.
Yeah, they couldn't. And I was talking about bringing out the brooms. You know, there's some the wicked witch of the Detroit Pistons flew out on that broom that I was trying to talk about. We was going to stick them up under. But, you know, they just played with a lot of energy. They were physical. Watching this game, they were super physical. They were handsy. They made sure that they weren't allowing us to get to our spots. They were forcing us off of our spots. They were everything that they were doing was super aggressive. And I think that we had a kind of a casual move in this game.
Yes, which we saw a lot of back in December and January, not so much as of late. Still, Celtics take the series 3-1. Of course, this most recent game, though, a loss by 20. Let's head back out to Little Caesars Arena. That's where we find Drew and Scal. Maybe it was the pizza, guys. What's your take?
I mean, there has to be a reason. We had no gas today. We had a stretch where we made shots. Outside of that, we did not play well at all.
Well, I think the Pistons deserve credit because they took the fight to the Celtics. I don't think the Celtics would have, rolled over on their own. The Pistons forced them into it. They played with a ton of energy, which, as Abby said, we've seen that pretty much all year, teams getting up to play the Celtics. But when the Pistons are young, hungry, it doesn't matter that they've played 3 games in 4 nights because they were clearly the team with more energy tonight.
Yeah, and they're coming into their own. Like, they started the season. I think, like, if you really think about J.B. Bickerstaff, he took a team that knew nothing but losing. I mean, do not know how to win a game. It was like watching them during that losing streak last year. They just find a different way to lose. And now he first had to teach them that they can win. Then they have to teach them to believe that they're going to win. And you see guys like Tobias Harris out here playing really good basketball. I mean, I haven't seen him play this well since before he got the $180 million from Philadelphia. And then you got Beasley, who was really good for the Bucks last year. Bucks need shooting and just let him go for nothing. So a lot of different things going on. But I think the end result is the Pistons are for real. I don't think they can win a second-round series, but it would be pretty amazing to go from where they were at to a team that can win a first-round series. Maybe if they play the Bucks or maybe if they play the Pacers. I'm not sure I'm picking them, but it is a possibility. So I think the Pistons all the credit in the world.
No doubt they could get in that 5-4 if they're a 6, maybe play the Knicks and have a chance to upset them. But as far as the Celtics are concerned, Scal, 12 two-point field goals tonight, which we told you is the fewest in franchise history. How does that happen?
Simple. If you're going to play against a team that's really got a lot of spice and vinegar, right? You got to move the ball. You got to move bodies. You got to drive. You got to do that. That takes a lot of energy. We just didn't play with a lot of energy today. We shot threes and we made them. And I think everything was kind of like isolation or pick and roll. We did not play the style of basketball to combat all that activity. So when you don't do that, then you're like in the competition of, are we going to make enough shots to beat them? But we were never going to get downhill with the physicality. You heard Eddie House talking about physical and they're handsy. I mean, that's what every team is doing against us. And they did that, and I just think we kind of tapped out.
How do you gauge mentally where your team is every night that you have to get up for a crowd like this?
No, it's great. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that it necessarily takes a toll. I think it just presents an opportunity. I thought we answered the call in the first half, and then I thought they got the best of us in the second half. So it's not as much of a toll as it is a responsibility. You talk about, it's a compliment that you have that, and you have to be able to execute on that, and you got to deliver on that all the time. And so, there's been times where we've been in this arena, and it's been let's go Celtic chants, and and tonight it was great that they have that environment for them, but that's the ownership, that's the responsibility you have. You got to answer the call to it. So definitely not bogged down by it, but it's a compliment, and you got to answer it.
What did you think of the environment? It seems like another case of these young teams just coming at you and bringing everything.
You enjoy that. Haven't had an environment like that in Detroit since I've been in the league. Happy for them, right? They trying to build something. It took a couple years, and they've playing some winning basketball. And that's what you want in the NBA. You want it to be competitive. You don't like, when teams trying to lose and like that. So, as a competitor, you want to be in those environments. You want to play against teams that are trying to win or play for something. And that's how it should be every night.
It seemed like you guys fought in the first half. The second half, they kind of got you. What happened? You were kind of fatigued. What did you see in the second half?
We had a bad game, to be honest, and me especially. I was terrible tonight, and we just had a really bad game. We fought, but they were like physical, and for them felt like it was a really important game. They really wanted to win it, and we battled as strong as we could, but we just fell short. They were hitting big shots after big shots, and we didn't rebound the ball well, especially myself. So definitely have to take some accountability and be better.
What did they do defensively to kind of get you guys in a live ball turnover? And then all of a sudden they're getting runouts.
Yeah, they were really handsy, physical handsy. The refs were not calling a lot of stuff, so this is one of those games we had to adapt quick, and I felt like we didn't, especially myself. I was emotional, and I was riled up about maybe not getting some calls that we usually get. Not a good night for us, honestly, and that's it. We've been here before, and we look forward to the next one.
That said, you guys have two big games coming up at home. You got a nice home stretch. What do you look at that next couple of weeks as an opportunity to maybe get healthy, reset yourself? How do you see that?
Yeah, I think we're relatively healthy right now. We want to protect the home court. We haven't played up to last season's level on a home court, and that's going to be a challenge for us. Lately we've been playing really well, just except for maybe today. We had a slip up, but we look forward to having a good home stretch now, protecting our home court and just keeping our streak up until this game.
You mentioned that you guys have, I think, one loss away from last year's total. Last year was kind of a breeze, flying through the season. Is this year defending a title, or is it just every season is different, every matchups? How do you view your season today?
No, we have to hunt again. We want to win another championship, and we have to be hunting again. But the season is long. We're working towards something. We want to peak at the right moment. We don't want to overreact to a loss. But every loss we can learn something and take something from. So tonight will be no different.
When teams come and want to attack you guys because you have the defending champ label attached to the franchise name, and you go up against that physicality. I saw Peyton get upset over certain calls that weren't called, and a couple scratches, bleeding throughout the game. How do you battle throughout that physicality? What adjustments can you make to, even if the refs aren't calling certain calls that you want, to still press through?
Right. Yeah, we just have to match the physicality. That's one. Realize that, as they're getting away with some things, we can also get away. Most likely it's going to be called the same way, and not expect that it's going to get called. If it's not getting called, we have to also use that to our advantage. So that's one. And And yeah, I don't want to overreact and say, we have to change something or anything like that. They just had a really good game. We didn't really play up to our level, and on top of that, we didn't have the same energy maybe we have on a first night of back-to-back. Sorry. So it's completely normal, but we want to use this as fuel for the upcoming games.
Was there a certain point in the game where you guys started to say, okay, like let's cut the lead, you were almost starting to get into a groove, and then it got away from you? How do you kind of battle through that?
Yeah, no, we felt good going into the halftime. We tied up the game, and then we came out again in the third. We were, expecting to keep this going, but they just kind of got the momentum again on their side and went up 10. And then again, we were kind of uphill fighting, and some 50-50 balls going their way, some big three this, and they just kept the momentum kind of going their way. We had very small moments in this game where we were actually like, here we go, we can catch on to something. So it was just one of those nights, uphill battle nights for us tonight, and then they had a really hot streak at one point in the fourth, I think, and when they went up 15-20, it was really tough, but we kept fighting and yeah, again, this hurts inside, especially for myself having a bad game like that. But we want to take this as a lesson and come back next game.
You think you guys can use this as fuel going into this Friday? It's two top teams in the East here, and you guys know the rivalry between you and the Cavs. What do you have to do to kind of get back at your home place and get ready for a big game?
Yeah, no, I think it's obviously for us. Big games like that, we love those challenges. It's potentially who we would see in the playoffs. So those are big games on our home court. Cavaliers are a really good team, and we beat them the last time. They're gonna be excited for this one and trying to get it back. So it will be a good matchup and a good way to measure where both teams are.
All right, this should have been the front half of the pod. We're on to Cleveland.
On to Cleveland, yes.
How are we feeling?
We acknowledge, if we're doing that, we acknowledge Detroit too much.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. I am feeling good.
I love how quickly you transition.
About the matchup against Cleveland.
Do you think?
How are you feeling?
Yeah, so I think we agree that whatever lethargy existed tonight, whether that was the effects of being on a back-to-back or just guys being sloppy in general, will not exist against Cavaliers.
I think it'll be a fun game. I'm excited for the matchup against the number one team in the NBA, leading the East by 5 games. However, I am not taking too much stock in a game that happens in February. That's still February, right? Or is it March?
Last day of February, right?
Last day of February.
This isn't a leap
No
year.
leap year.
No leap year.
So I'll just leave that there.
I don't disagree. I think it will be interesting to see if Jaylen Brown plays. Obviously missed tonight. Just his
calling
presence.
it a left leg contusion.
Bruce.
Although I could have sworn that he fell on his right leg and was hobbling on his right leg.
I'll have to go look at that.
Either way, not important. But
Yeah.
yes, hopefully he plays. Hopefully Kristaps.
Sometimes they put out these injury reports and they do the wrong side. It happens.
Rarely.
It happens.
I don't know. Okay.
Sometimes we're just guessing.
It is. And Joe Mazzulla won't talk about it.
Yeah, so what does it matter? Well, we know he's got a thigh bruise. And Joe Mazzulla admitted that while he was feeling better than he did in that end of the Toronto game, he was not, he still had, they figured he was not going to be playing against the Pistons.
But he was on the bench. Seemed to be in good spirits. Not a long-term thing.
It would be helpful to have him against Donovan Mitchell, to have him against Darius Garland. Celtics need to be ready. Then the Celtics have not. One of the things that I would say is that tonight they obviously did not respond well necessarily to size and physicality. Something that has been a sort of a perpetual thing. Not like completely, but like the teams that have size and physicality have given them trouble, and Cavs have it in spades. So Celtics need to be a little bit more locked in. When they're locked in, good things happen.
Which they have been for the most part of the season. When it comes to those big-time matchups on the national stage, the Celtics have shown up. The only time that I can think of was on Christmas Day against the Sixers, and that was a team in the Sixers that really hadn't shown any signs of life to that point.
I'm not going to be able to rope you into this pod despite the homestand for the next couple of games. Which of the upcoming games is the sexiest to you?
I can't. Friday's pretty sexy.
Mm-hmm.
On
a scale of
the Lakers with Luka come to town in the second
Okay, hold
half.
on. We're gonna do a 1 to 5 sexy scale.
Forsberg, I feel like you're really towing the line of what is appropriate.
You were the one who
All I'm
called me
thinking
out.
of are my romance books and the spice level. We also had Indian food this evening. I don't know where we're going with this.
Can you tell the people that I ordered extra hot?
He did, and it was not.
It was not hot.
It was not hot.
On a scale of 1 to 5, it was not hot. It was like a 2. It was disappointing.
Chris was pretty
I would
disappointed.
still order from that place again. We will not slander them on air, but
So let's say spicy, not sexy.
right. So on these matchups,
spice level
on
is
the
what you're-
spice level, yeah,
Even that.
1 to 5.
Not a great
The tahine meter. Where are
So the Cavs have got to be up there. Cavs are at a 5, right? Because they're the number 1 team in the NBA.
Yeah.
Could be a potential Eastern Conference
I would
Finals
say if
matchup.
no Jaylen Brown, it goes down to maybe a 4 because
Yeah.
you're like, it's just not the full spice.
Yep. And along with that, Joe Mazzulla did say everybody right now pretty banged up,
Mm.
especially on the Celtics. Everybody dealing with something. We are at that point of the season, and so
Fair.
I wouldn't
Denver.
say full health. Denver.
Jokic, after not seeing him the first time. This could in potential finals preview, which is what we're going to call every Western Conference matchup for the rest of the year.
Yes. How much fear does Jokic strike into your heart?
Jokic promotes a lot of fear. He is 5 on the spicy fear meter.
I agree.
So,
But so
the
fun to
matchup
watch
as a
him
whole,
play.
though, matchup is still probably a 4 because I think we still think Denver is a cut below the OKCs of the world. But they're probably in the same tier, like Celtics, Cavs, OKC, Denver. Those are the 4 surefire. And Lakers, Minnesota, there's another fringe, and then the rest of the Eastern Conference.
Jamal Murray gets up to play the Celtics, though, every single time. And
I still remember that 50-point game where Kyrie punted
kicked the ball into the stands. I remember
Still
that.
makes me laugh. Here's your game ball. Boof. One of the few things Kyrie did here that was fun.
I just remember being in Phoenix for the next game, and he had to apologize for it after he got fined, and that was a less than heartfelt
He probably just
apology.
wanted to own it. I actually would have respected that, but he probably got told he had to apologize for it. Whatever.
Right. So then, but then after that, like I
Portland.
said, oh my gosh, I knew it. I knew this was coming. The Blazers have been playing good basketball as of late. Scoot Henderson.
Fair.
Yep.
I would normally put this on at a 2 on the spice meter. If Rob plays, 6.5.
Oh. Forsberg already planning his it's a Wednesday game, everybody. You can see it right here on NBC Sports Boston. And Chris is planning his trip to Trailblazers shoot-around.
Yes.
At TD Garden.
Normally,
he will not miss it.
The morning drive into the Garden would be like, I don't know if I want to do that. For Rob, I will. But we'll see. We'll see if he travels.
Is there anything you wouldn't do for Rob Williams III?
Let's just
I
move on.
would do
I was gonna say.
anything for love.
I knew we weren't going to make it through
It's
the
a deep
podcast
cut.
without crayons, sexy, and someone singing. And all I had, you guys would not sell.
Did you think it was going to be me?
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
I thought all 3.
we did hit all 3.
When you guys wouldn't stop saying grenade for Derek's cool play, all I had was Bruno Mars in my head the whole time. And it took every there was one point you asked me a question
It didn't
and
even cross my mind.
I could not even remember what question you asked me because I'm like, oh, catch
Take
a grenade,
for
and I was just
ya.
I was just off. So I don't know. Where I was
Okay,
going
then the
with this either.
Trailblazers, yes, Celtics starting Friday, season-long 7-game homestand. I am excited.
Okay,
This
see,
is
is
the
this-
longest I will have been
I know.
home. Yeah, since early December.
You're sleeping in your own bed for 30 days, pretty much.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
that is crazy. Wow. I don't know about all that, but I. We're not talking about. This has gone off the rails. Why are you not excited to see Luka with the Lakers?
No, I am. I'm not. It's funny. Every time I say oh, that's the best game. That's the
Timberwolves
best
too.
game.
Yeah, and Edwards is coming, right?
I mean, there's just Oklahoma
Yes,
City, LA,
this is-
everything is the next
Jam packed.
starting Friday night, a 13-day stretch where every game is super duper awesome.
And we go through this. How do the Celtics, coming out of the All-Star break, have the third easiest
I
schedule?
have no idea.
I don't
Some of it is
understand
the
that.
Lakers are, they're just starting to surge a little bit. But yeah, I don't get it. Like the Cavs and Oklahoma City are the two best teams in the NBA, and do we have the third easiest schedule? I mean, I think you mix in a bunch of the Raptors and those kind of games.
But they closed out that series against the Raptors.
Utah comes to town, like Portland. Again, there's
still got to
teams,
go out to.
There's
Utah
teams that are starting to play
Portland.
better that you're catching at the wrong moment. Like Pistons,
yes,
as shown by the 3 previous wins. It's been a stretch, but this is going to be fun.
It is going to be fun.
I'm going to miss you in the studio, though.
I had a great time these
I know.
2 games.
I think the producers are going to be much happier that I will not be as jokey.
Oh, I was going to say it was weird not being on the sideline.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. You get used to it. Me, I'm just in this chair, mostly by myself.
Did you just say the producers will be happy that I'm gone?
No. I'm saying they're going to be happy that I will be less silly because I don't know. I'm not saying you bring out the worst in me.
That's hurtful.
No, but like in a good way.
I'm going to put this over my eyes and my ears, Forsberg.
What was that movie with Sandra Bullock?
Don't like the way I say crayons, Bird Box or something.
Yes. What a poll.
I know, that's what I was thinking of. I thought of it the whole time.
It's podcast.
Bring my own headband game. Fine. Maybe I'll wear this.
All right. Well, everybody go subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this little two days of Abby on the pod. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Remember, leave your little.
Oh! Shout out to someone. I do read the YouTube comments. He told me they're called tiger shrimp. The shrimp at St. Elmo's, the massive shrimp. And he also said, yes, they do taste like lobster. They do. They're delicious.
They were amazing. And
shout out. St. Elmo's. Shout out Megan Ottolini for the headbands.
Yes, 100%.
Any more shouts? Forsberg and I are going to do some cameos after this. If anyone would
if
like
you're looking
to
for a cameo,
book a cameo.
Some people
They'll be there on Friday, so I can get them done.
Some people you order a cameo from, and you get like 30 seconds, the bare necessities. Me and Abby, much like this podcast, will stretch it out for minutes and hours on end. There's someone in their car right now who's like, hopefully sitting in their driveway, like, I'd love to go inside, but this podcast is going on. They've been trying to wrap this thing up for 5 minutes. I'm clinging to every word.
Some people say, I didn't ask for this, but
they get it.
We give it to you. We deliver. And then some every time.
Sexiest pod on the planet.
Oh my God! I thought you were going to shave the stash when the Celtics lost, by the way. I thought this was some sort of win streak.
I really thought we were done. I looked at the clock at 10:37 and I said, we are out of here. It's 10:42.
I have more bones to pick.
No, that's fine. The mustache is staying for now. We'll see where that goes. If there is
people, so weigh in on the crayon conversation and Forsberg's mustache, please. We need to get a consensus, and I'm hoping that we can get enough behind
subscribe. Check us out on the YouTube page. No shaving right now. We'll catch you next time on the Celtics Talk Podcast.
Thank you.